Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the incredibly fascinating, wildly complex biological machinery that keeps animals alive. And yeah, that includes the very machinery operating inside you right this second. You know, we're always marveling at the engineering of cars or computers or rockets, but honestly, the most sophisticated, beautifully structured systems on Earth are totally organic. We're going to break down the exact mechanics of how life sustains itself, drawing straight from our source material on the vital mechanics of animal life.
So I want you to picture three things: a lion stalking through the savannah, an earthworm just quietly tunneling through garden soil, and, well, you, sitting exactly where you are right now, taking this all in. What in the world connects such diverse creatures? I mean, they look completely different, they live in entirely different environments, right? But beneath the surface, there's this deeply intricate shared system at work. Every single day, they're all powered by the exact same biological engine.
Section 1. The Engine of Life. Let's take a look at the fundamental operating system that comes pre-installed in literally every living, breathing animal on the planet.
Our source defines this operating system as life processes. Basically, these are the fundamental processes animals carry out to stay alive, to grow, and to reproduce. Now, what you really want to take away from this is that while these processes might differ wildly in their complexity across species, like an earthworm's setup is obviously way simpler than yours, the core blueprint, it's completely universal. Every animal has got to tick these exact same boxes to survive. If even one of these processes fails, the whole biological system goes down.
Moving on to Section 2, fueling up and breathing. Because let's be real, you can't run a car without fuel and air, and you absolutely cannot run an animal without them either.
The absolute first life process is nutrition, or, feeding. Animals have to take in food to get their energy and nutrients. Our source breaks this down pretty neatly into three types of fuel intake. First up, we've got our herbivores, like cows, eating plants. It's an incredible process, actually. A cow eats grass and breaks it down using a super complex stomach system. Then we have our carnivores, like the lion. Their internal engine strictly requires them to eat other animals. And finally, omnivores, like us humans, who are adaptable enough to eat both plants and animals to get our energy fix.
But here's the thing, food alone isn't enough. You have to ignite it. And that perfectly illustrates our second life process, respiration or breathing. Now, this isn't just about inhaling air. It's the process where animals break down their food using oxygen to actually release the energy locked inside it. Just look at how different animals adapt to get that oxygen. Humans and dogs, we use our lungs. Fish are underwater, so they use gills to pull oxygen straight out of the water. And get this, an earthworm literally breathes right through its skin. That is exactly why they need to stay moist. The organ changes, but the life-sustaining goal is exactly the same.
All right, Section 3, circulating and cleaning up. We're shifting focus here from taking inputs in to figuring out how the body moves resources around and, crucially, gets rid of the trash. This brings us to transportation, or circulation. Think of this as your body's internal delivery network. The circulatory system relies on a central pump, the heart, and this massive, sprawling network of vessels to move blood around. That blood is the ultimate delivery vehicle, constantly carrying the nutrients we just ate and the oxygen we just breathed to absolutely every single part of the body. In humans, that heart beats around 100,000 times a day, just to make sure your cells literally never run out of the materials they need to keep going.
Now, what's really fascinating is how the body handles the aftermath of all that. Process number 4 is excretion. Look, whenever a system burns fuel, it creates exhaust, right? If that exhaust builds up, it's highly toxic. So animals absolutely must remove harmful waste products from the body. For humans, we use a whole team of different organs for this cleanup job. Our kidneys filter the blood and flush out urea through urine. Our skin clears out waste through sweat. And our lungs, which we were just talking about using to take in oxygen, well, they also act like an exhaust pipe, breathing out the waste gas we call carbon dioxide.
Section 4, moving and reacting. Up until now, we've mostly talked about what happens on the inside. Now, let's see how animals physically interact with the outside world. And that brings us to movement, or locomotion. Unlike most plants, animals have to physically navigate their environments. So, why does this matter? Well, according to the source material, they have to move for 3 absolutely critical reasons: to find food, to escape danger, or to reproduce. The method definitely changes based on the hardware, birds fly, fish swim, and we walk, but the biological drive to get from point A to point B is a total non-negotiable life process.
Okay, imagine this. You're moving through your environment and you accidentally place your hand flat on a burning hot stove. What happens? I mean, think about that for a second. You don't just stand there and rationally think, my hand seems to be burning, I should probably move it. No way. You instantly recoil.
And this beautifully illustrates our next process, response to stimuli, which is also known as sensitivity. Animals have to be able to monitor and respond to changes in their environment, like immediately. Touching a hot object and pulling your hand back in a split second is the perfect example of this. Your nervous system detects a threat, fires off a lightning-fast signal, and triggers a physical reaction to save you from damage. It is an incredibly highly tuned alarm system.
Which brings us to Section 5, growing and multiplying. Because an individual animal's life is finite, the system naturally has built-in mechanisms for continuing the species.
First up in this phase is growth. Animals don't just stay the same size they were when they were born, right? They increase in size and they develop over time. A puppy doesn't just stay a puppy forever. It takes in nutrition, uses all that internal logistics we talked about, and systematically builds more of itself until it's a full-grown adult dog. This steady, organized increase in size and capability is a universal, totally necessary life process.
And finally, we have the ultimate act of biological legacy, reproduction. Animals simply must produce offspring to continue their species. The source highlights two distinct methods for this. On one hand, we have sexual reproduction. This requires two parents, and it's what humans and most animals use. A classic, everyday example is a hen laying eggs that eventually hatch into little chicks. On the other hand, we have asexual reproduction. This is used by some simple animals, like the hydra, and this is wild. It literally buds off miniature clones of itself to create offspring. No partner needed. Two totally different strategies, but they share the exact same goal: keeping the species alive.
All right, Section 6, the ultimate memory trick. We have covered a lot of ground in this explainer today, so here is a fantastic tip to help you lock all of these vital mechanics into your memory.
The crucial point here is this simple 8-letter acronym, NRTMGRS. Let's walk through each letter real quick to solidify how all these processes work together in perfect sequence. You take in fuel through nutrition. You burn it using oxygen through respiration. You move those resources around through transportation. You get rid of the waste through excretion. You navigate the world through movement. You build your body through growth. You pass on your genes through reproduction. And you safely react to your environment through sensitivity. 8 letters, and they literally define the entirety of your biological existence. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a thought. Right now, at this very second, your heart is pumping, your lungs are exchanging gases, your cells are metabolizing, and your nervous system is sensing the exact temperature of the room you're in. You are an absolute masterpiece of functional engineering. So how will you look at your own biological machinery today? Take a second to just appreciate that complex, perfectly tuned organic machine running inside you right now. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer, and hey, keep marveling at the science all around you.